it's Jan back at it again with another nerdy bookish video. Whoa! What's up, it's Jan back at it again with another nerdy bookish video. This is gonna be my August wrap-up. Hello. Here's my stack of books, here's my reading journal, here's my handy dandy skull that I took a break from for a month. I'm so sorry. I still have to name him. What in the world? What is in your mouth, sir? You gotta floss. We're back with the reread, rewrite, burn, tag method, and if you're new here, it's basically me talking about the books I read, but in a more fun way for me to film it, because otherwise I'd get bored and I'll never do these again. I've been doing this for like 3 years now, more than that, and I just pick 3 books at a time. I have them on little slips of paper in this skull, and I say whether I would reread, rewrite, or burn the book. 9 times out of 10, it doesn't usually go with like the higher the rating, the more likely I am to reread it. Sometimes I burn 5-star books, and sometimes I reread, maybe not 1-star books, but sometimes I reread 2-star books, just depending on the groupings and what I end up pulling. I took a break for a month because in July, I just did like a rapid fire wrap up. I'll link that down below. Yeah, that wasn't as fun to film, not gonna lie. It was a lot quicker though, so that was nice. Because I did a 10K in 10 days challenge, I'll link that vlog down below because I'm very proud of it. I'm proud that I made it to the other side of the challenge. Did I hit 10,000? Spoiler, no. But I tried my darndest. I put my whole chest and soul and heart and tears in it. Anyway, all that will be linked down below. This is my wrap up. I go through my recap first, basically just stats, and then we go into pulling the titles out of the skull. I don't know what that accent was. First of all, I actually hit 30 books. I read 30 books in the month of August, which was my goal, because I just wanted a good reading month. I wanted a good life month. I was just manifesting all the good vibes, and I pushed for that 30th book. I ended up reading a poetry book last minute on the last day to hit that 30, but I got there. Oh, I didn't add up my pages. Damn. I kind of want to do that because I did have the full moon readathon. Let me grab my phone real quick. Okay, so I did the calculations. If you didn't know, my goal is to read 100 pages a day, and I manually keep track of my page count every single day. This is the first month in like 3 years where I just stopped caring. I still hit 100 most days, and you know, some days I have 965, some days I have 333, 565, 401. Keep that all in my bullet journal here. But then some days I have 31, 78, 75, 92. So I didn't hit 100 every single day, and when you stop caring about shit, life is better. So this is the month where I did a lot of like self-reflection and reevaluation of a lot of things. I mean, all year I've been doing like my boundary changes, things like that in terms of like the internet, right? But like in regards to like my personal life, I've been making some changes in August and really sitting down and thinking of like what really fucking matters and what I need to prioritize. Sometimes my 100 pages just wasn't it for some days, and that's okay because some days, like I said, I went way above 100, so either way it evens out. I'm sure if I tried to divvy it up, it'd be over 100 every day. Anyway, I read 7,415 pages. This is also the first month that I also counted my audiobook pages every day because I used to just be too lazy to calculate the percentages. I count audiobooks no matter what in terms of like my reading goals and whatever, because reading is reading is reading. Okay, what was I gonna say? But yeah, this is the first time that I actually, if I listened to an audio, I didn't listen to too many audiobooks this month anyway, but when I did calculate the percentages to the thing, and I do everything manually. I know like Storygraph does it and whatever, and I tried Storygraph. I like doing things manually, okay? I like to be as old school as I can. I still collect CDs. My car still has a CD drive. Like, I like to keep it old school as much as I can. So I don't know why I'm going on this tangent. Okay, whatever. Next thingamabob. Number of BIPOC authors. I did really bad. This is another thing that I sadly like stopped not caring about because I did beat myself up over it by the end of the month, but I stopped like really keeping track of. Well, I kept track of it. You know what I mean? Like I didn't force myself to achieve these reading goals if I didn't. But what's ironic is this is the first month this year that I accomplished all of my reading goals. Every month I have to read my Full Moon Book Club, my Lair Bloody Read. Those are a given, right? But then there's also Buzz Wordathon and coffin covers and an ARC and a Kindle book, and yeah, you'll see. But this is the first month that I actually did every single one. BIPOC authors. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 out of 30. That is depressing. I didn't even hit double digits. Whew! Embarrassing. I'll do better. At the end of the day, my goal is 50% BIPOC authors by the end of the year, so there were some months where I went over it, so it should balance out by the end of the year, ideally. Okay, best book of the month was The Final Scene by Steph Nelson. It was really close between this and I'm a Fan by Sheena Patel, but I had more fun with this one. That one got annoying at some points. That one was just more relatable, but this one was more fun. This was riveting. This was pretty to look at, fun to hold. It's a great thriller that I haven't heard too many people talk about. I heard about this from a girl in Silent Book Club back in April. I downloaded it on my Kindle and then I never read it. This is the Twisted Retreat edition, by the way. I saw teasers for, I think it was the July box or the August box, and I was like, okay, well, might as well wait till I have a pretty edition. I actually didn't annotate this. I just wanted to fly through it because it was gripping from the start. All I want to tell y'all is obviously what's in the synopsis because I don't want to give anything away, because it's best to go into this blindly, especially that like not a lot of people are talking about it right now. Basically, there's this isolated cabin where people are held captive. You follow this girl Brooke from the very start. You see kind of like the prologue of like how she got captured, how long she's been there, what the situation is. You learn pretty quickly what's going on, but it's really messed up, so I'm not gonna give anything away. That's all I'm gonna say. 5 stars. I'm obsessed. It's the right amount of disturbing that I love in books like this, so highly recommend. My worst book. The only reason I still have this in my possession is to hold it up for this video, and then I'm gonna do the taboo thing and throw it in the trash. The Year of Rest and Relaxation by Atasa Moshfegh, which is so disappointing because this cover, stunning. Right? Top tier. I've had this for like over 2 years now. Joey bought this for me, so there's another bummer that I'm getting rid of it. I asked for his permission. He said he doesn't give a fuck if I get rid of it, because y'all know I don't get rid of gifted books, so it's really heartbreaking for me to get rid of this one at all, let alone throw it in the trash. I've been looking forward to this for a while because I feel like it's my type of sad girl lit fic. This girl is just depressed and wants to sleep for a year, so I thought it was gonna be like super relatable, and then there's gonna be like dark, dry humor. Yeah, there's some darkness to it for sure, and then there's problematic parts to it, a lot of problematic parts. I'll link my 6th episode of Do Your Worst featuring Steph from Stephanie Bookish in the description down below, because I don't want to repeat those words again. I don't want to read the lines. I don't want to open this book again. The problematic lines that made me decide this was 1-star trash material, it's in that vlog, I promise. But yeah, just know that the ending is freaking dumb, literally one of the dumbest endings I've ever read. The characters are not only unlikable, intolerable, insufferable, but they're problematic in many ways. Even though this was published in 2018, I mean, still, there are some things that are just so left field that they shouldn't even be near the ballpark. You know what I mean? Like I don't even want to, no, 1 star. Obviously a burn. No matter what her grouping is with, she's gonna be burned. My nonfiction books of the month were The Year of Magical Thinking by Joan Didion, which I gave 4 stars, and then my poetry book, which I know is weird to some people that I consider poetry nonfiction. I don't have a separate category for poetry because it's just easier to have fiction versus nonfiction, you know? And like I work at a library, poetry is in nonfiction, it's staying as a nonfiction book. So I read You'll Come Back to Yourself. I forgot the author's name, but I just read it on Kindle Unlimited as a last minute thing, and it's about like breakups and finding yourself and stuff. It was relatable, but like I'm in a happy, healthy, long relationship, so it would have been handy like 2.5 years ago. But it was still good. I think I still gave it 3 stars maybe. What did I give that? Yeah, I gave that 3 stars. My arcs that I read, if I didn't read My Year of Rest and Relaxation, this would have been my worst book of the month. This Wretched Valley, who sent me this? Quirk Books sent me this arc like a month before it came out, and I of course read it after it came out because I am who I am. And this was my full moon book club pick for last month. So I have all my spoilery thoughts in my spoiler-filled vlog, so I'll link that down below. If you haven't heard, that's what I'm doing now for Full Moon Book Club. There are no live shows anymore anywhere, on my channel, on Patreon, anywhere. I'm done hosting live shows. I do spoiler-filled vlogs, public spoiler-filled vlogs now for them. So all my thoughts are going to be there, but just know I gave this 2 stars, and I still count it as an arc because it is an arc, a physical arc, and I had an e-arc for it as well, and it ups my net galley. So the other arc I read, oh my god, I'm so sick of saying arc, was The Night Guest by Helga something. I would butcher their name anyway, but here it is. Y'all have seen it. It's a hot pink cover. It's a horror novella. It was so much fun. I gave it 5 stars. This comes out later this month in September, and it's a shorty patorty at like 200 something pages, like a little over 200, and it has 100 chapters. Some chapters were 1 sentence long. Like that's my type of book, okay? That is the way to my heart, my dudes. That was the other arc I read. On Kindle, I read The Night Guest because it was an e-arc. You'll Come Back to Yourself, like I said. And then I read The House on Mango Street, which was the classic I read of the month. I read that during my 24-hour readathon in my part 2 full moon readathon vlog. So I'll have that vlog linked down below. Super fun. I made it through with no sleep. If that convinces you to watch it, there you go. And I gave The House on Mango Street 3 stars. And then I read Christmas in Quincy by Devney Perry, which is another novella in the Edens series, because I also read Indigo Ridge this month. And Christmas in Quincy, I know it's a Christmas book in August. What the hell? I don't even like Christmas. But I read it because it was short and it was book number 0.5, so I technically was supposed to read it before Indigo Ridge anyway. So I read that. Buzzword for Kayla's annual Buzzwordathon challenge. The buzzword was like, so I read Small Things Like These by Claire Keegan. I was told that I didn't understand this book. I knew I didn't understand it, but like then people were commenting about the history of the book, about Ireland and stuff, and I'm sorry, I just didn't know. Oh, I have a Teams message. I just didn't understand. I didn't know the history behind this. I went into Small Things Like These knowing it was on the New York Times Best of the 21st Century. I thought it was going to be just like a cozy little story set in the winter in Ireland. So I ended up giving that one 2 stars because I didn't like the audiobook for it, and I obviously didn't understand the story, and I'm sorry about that. I should have done my research. That's on me. For my coffin covers challenge, which I started this year for Patreon, it's just a fun little challenge where it's basically Buzzwordathon, but instead of titles, we look at covers. That's just the easiest way to explain it. Plus, I can give Kayla a little shout out every time I explain it. I read Happy Medium and The Final Scene because the coffin covers challenge was to look for a moon on the cover. There's a moon right there, and on the naked cover there's a moon right there. So those were the 2. Happy Medium I gave 4 stars. I really like this. This is super cute. This is also an Aardvark book, so shameless plug to my discount code JAN to get your first Aardvark Book Club box for $4 and free shipping, because I love working with them, and I finally read another one. I'm so behind. I kept up with it the first couple months. Now we're behind again, but I finally read this one and I really enjoyed it. And Aardvark selections are always so diverse. There's always something someone would like to read because they have a wide variety of genres and they're great to work with. They're so responsive on social media as well, and their social media game, unmatched. I've never seen anything like it, I swear. This takes place on a goat farm and it's a romance. She's a con artist pretending to be a spirit medium for money, and he's the goat farmer. There's all this like family drama and like a curse supposedly on the farm. There's a ghost, there's a goat, there's a romance. It's a cute time. And then I try to read at least one Aardvark or Book of the Month book, and this was the only one I read. 500+ page book. I read Smoke by Ellen Hopkins. Yeah, I know I started it during the 10K in 10 days challenge, or maybe a little bit after that, and I just finished it in August during that 24-hour readathon. So I'll have that link down below. I gave that 4 stars. It dragged because I wasn't binge reading it. You're supposed to binge read these, okay? Like 100 pages at a time is what I said in my vlog. I feel like is the good, I almost said happy medium. It's like a good amount to read at a time to really get into the story instead of like having bits and pieces, because Smoke and all of Ellen Hopkins' books are told in verse. So if you read just little chunks, it feels like the story drags on forever because they're like huge. They're like 600 pages long. But once I was in it, and then the ending broke my heart. So 4 stars. And then I read 2 classics this month actually. I read The House on Mango Street, like I said, and then Dracula's Guest by Bram Stoker, which is a short story. And listen, I don't want to hear it. If it's on Goodreads as a separate entity, I'm counting it. Okay, I surpassed my Goodreads goal anyway back in June, so like, call it what you want. I don't care. No one. Jan goes on this rant. Dracula's Guest. I gave that 4 stars. I read it for the classic prompt for Full Moon Readathon. Thank you so much to everyone who participated, by the way. I had so much fun hosting again this year. This is the 3rd year in a row. We're gonna do it again next year. Okay, I already have most of the prompts figured out and the characters and everything, and it's super fun. So if you missed it this year, there's still a chance next year. I'll link the vlogs down below. That's all. Now we can begin. First 3, we've got Ghost Reaper Girl Volume 1, Sugarcane by Cassandra Celia. This is another Twisted Retreat book. It's one of the bonus books. And then, oh no! Fuck! Another 5-star, Because You're Mine by Christopher Triana. This is actually Joey's copy. Ugh, fuck. Oh my god. Okay, I got it. Ghost Reaper Girl Volume 1, I'll burn. Gave that one 3 stars. It was alright, not memorable. I probably won't continue the series. The thing about this one is that it was requested by the author or the creator. It's manga, but they requested to make it read like a normal book instead of right to left. I don't know why, but I just liked the cover, and the back had like ghosts and pumpkins and jack-o'-lanterns and stuff, so I was like, okay, let me try this this out. I couldn't even tell you what happened. It was a fun time. It kind of reminded me of Beetlejuice meets something else. I put in my Goodreads review. But you get a bunch of creatures, a bunch of ghosts, and it was a fun time. It's just, I mean, I didn't feel connected to the characters. I don't have an interest in continuing the series, but if you're looking for a fun, spooky little manga, there you go. But I'm gonna burn that. I'm gonna reread Sugarcane. This was so good. 5 stars. I read this in like a sitting or two. It's a thriller. These are like so similar, actually. They're both thriller horror romances where it's like obsession stories, and it just like leads to shit going down because of said obsession. And this one, you start the book knowing that this wife is held in captivity by her husband in the basement. This basement has been his project for months and months and months. They've been together for 10 years. She never asked questions about it. He never told her about what's going on in this basement. And then we find out why. The timeline is really cool because it like goes back and forth, like present day, and then it goes farther and farther back in their relationship. And then you even see like when they met 11 years ago or whatever. And then you just see the progression of their relationship and the downfall of it. But then it's also the theme of like love is sacrifice. People do crazy things for love. So yeah, definitely recommend that and would reread. Similar themes in this one. It's a horror romance. It came out this month. I read it a few days early. Joey bought this at the Books and Brews horror event from Christopher Triana's table, obviously, and he was like, oh, this doesn't come out yet. I was like, get it. I want to read it. Because he's like, yeah, that's actually a horror romance. I was like, yeah, buy it, Joey. Buy it now. I'm gonna read it immediately. I'm gonna read it before you. And I gave it 5 stars as well. Okay, so it says Brian's elderly mother is terminally ill, and that's the way he likes it. She comes from old money, and then he hires an in-home nurse, and things go down between them too. I just love mutually fucked up people, and that's all I'm gonna say. But I would rewrite this because my one gripe with this was there were many times where it would just like spew out random facts about famous serial killers. It's like, we get it, you know, you're well versed in that department. It would just say like random well-known things about like Ted Bundy and Ed Kemper and Gacy, and I'm just like, okay, we don't really need all that. So I would take that part out. Okay, next 3. The Year of Magical Thinking by Joan Didion, The House on Mango Street by Sandra Cisneros, and Happy Medium by Sarah Adler. This I was actually gonna get rid of because I just don't like my copy because it has highlights and the Pango seller didn't indicate that, and I like my annotations in my books, but I would still reread this because it's a memoir, so rewriting it would be rude and dumb. I listened to it on audio and I was like kind of distracted because I was doing paint by sticker and all these cozy activities at the same time. But there was a really sad part. There were a lot of sad parts because it's about Joan Didion's husband, John, which by the way, I noticed this myself. Blue letters spell out John, so isn't that cool? Very creative. On a boring cover, that was the creativity of that, and like that's fine with me, you know? But it's about her late husband and then other family issues and medical things. So there's a lot of medical talk in this. That's why I gave it a 4. I've also read Hereafter by Amy Lynn, and I thought it was gonna be that, where it's like all about their relationship and their love, you know, me and my hopeless romantic ass, right? But it's just a lot of medical stuff. But I would still reread it because I want to annotate it. I want to experience it in my own head and thoroughly read it instead of just like being distracted and listening to it on audio. And then I would rewrite Happy Medium. Wait, what was the 3rd one? Oh, House on Mango Street. Yeah, I guess I would just burn that because it's a classic and I have so many other classics to read, but it was good. I gave that one 3 stars. There were just so many characters. It was a super quick read. Also, I was reading it pretty late at night because I read it during that 24-hour readathon, so I haven't made too many good choices reading wise for August. But I did have a decent amount of 5 stars this month. Anyway, it was good. It was not the story's fault by any means. It was just a lot of characters and my brain wasn't fully there. I don't know. But I would rewrite Happy Medium. Honestly, make it a little bit shorter. I feel like we did not need this 400-page romance. It's almost 400 pages. Yeah, 390. Obviously, I still enjoyed it. I gave it 4 stars. It was such a cute, fun time. I just think it was a little bit dragged out, especially in the beginning. I feel like the second half moved pretty smoothly, but the first half, I was like, okay, let's meet this ghost. Let's meet this farmer. Let's figure things out. You know what I mean? All right, we've gone A Wizard's Guide to Defensive Baking by T. Kingfisher. Fuck. This is a burn. I'm not even gonna talk about it. It's a burn. And then we have The Bone Houses. Damn, I would burn this too though. Okay, I would reread this for sure. This was so cute. This ranks 2nd in my T. Kingfisher books. I've read 8 of her books now and this ranks 2nd, so that is saying a lot. This was so cute. If you love Shrek, you'll love this. The angry gingerbread man is prominent throughout the whole book. You think at first that you're getting like cozy mystery, like murder mystery, because she finds this body, this dead body at her bakery, and she's 14 and she works at her, I think, aunt's bakery. Grandma's Bakery? I don't know. She finds a dead body, so you think it's like a cozy mystery, but it's really just mostly cozy fantasy. Actually very heavily cozy fantasy. Super fun time. I read this for Gavin's Patreon book club, and I'm really glad I got to it. And thank you, Brienne, one of my vampies on Patreon, for gifting this to me on my birthday. It was a really quick read. The audiobook's fun. Again, super Shrek vibes. I would rewrite The Bone Houses. I read this for a Carmilla Patreon video. Thank you, Ashlyn, for gifting this to me like 3 years ago or so. I gave it a 3-star. The writing was the best part of this book. The atmospheric, gothic, vibey writing. But the plot I really didn't care for. The Bone Houses are basically corpse remains that come back to life. We follow this family of grave diggers who, by the way, make a lot of money. Not the family in this. I don't know about the family, but I looked it up as a fun fact for my vlog, and those people make a lot of money. Anyway, I just really didn't care for the plot. I couldn't really follow the plot. I just didn't care enough to. I was here for the atmospheric writing. I was here for the creepy, gothic, cemetery, graveyard vibes, and it achieved that. But the characters didn't really care for. There was a weird romance that I didn't really care for. This was a very forgettable book for me, but I'm glad I got it off my physical TBR. What did I say? I would rewrite this. How would I rewrite this when the writing was the best part? I don't know. I feel like it would have been a fun gothic novella. So like make it shorter because I did not have a fun time. Even though it was an easy read, the font is huge. I listened to the audiobook and the audiobook was fine. There were some creepy parts with the resurrecting corpses and bone houses and stuff. Oh, and there was a part about a goat. Goats have been very prominent in my life in the past month or so. But yeah, the goat part, that was fun. I would not rewrite that part. I think I would just flesh out the characters more and take out the romance. That was unnecessary. There was this part with her uncle that I thought was going to be this huge part of the plot, but it wasn't. So maybe more of that as well. I don't know. The Night Guest, Freerun Volume 5, and The Couple Next Door by Sherry LaPena. I would burn Freerun Volume 5. It was another manga, the 5th in the series. It was a fun time. I'm gonna continue the series. It's a fantasy, it's cozy. Follow this elf and her friends, and they're going through these like trials right now, these like exams or whatever. It's fun. Couldn't tell you much about it. I heard the anime is really good. Okay, wait. Okay, got this. The Night Guest would absolutely reread. It was 5 stars. Loved it. The Couple Next Door I read for that Do Your Worst episode that I mentioned earlier, and I gave it 4 stars. It's going on my most surprising of 2024. I was not expecting to love this, especially because the premise is a missing baby story, which I don't gravitate towards whatsoever, but I had the audiobook on Libby and Steph hated it, so I read it for that video and I ended up giving it 4 stars. But the one thing I would rewrite about this, I'd probably rewrite more than one thing, but there's a lot of like money talk, and I don't like that superficial shit in books. I don't like when money and fame and status and whatever are the main things in stories. So I think I would have changed part of that, but that's also changing like, most of the plot. So I don't know. I just wish it was different. But the way it was laid out too was kind of weird because like the reveals weren't told in a way that made sense to me personally. But I mean, it worked. I still felt kind of bamboozled by the end. I could have been more bamboozled, but I think it did a good job. And I loved the ending. That last page, loved it. And the chapters were really short, so I really enjoyed it. Basically, this couple leaves their baby, their 6-month-old baby, by herself while they go party next door with that couple. The kid gets kidnapped, because why wouldn't she? The husband was really dumb because he was like,
yeah, we'll just like leave the baby monitor on and we'll check on her every hour.
And then it was past midnight and she was kidnapped. So we go from there. And there were a lot of fucked up characters in that book. Next, we have The Spell Shop by Sarah Beth Durst, which was my Lair Bloody read for August, Smoke by Ellen Hopkins, and Small Things Like These by Claire Keegan. Small Things Like These was the lowest rated, so I would burn that. I'm sorry. I know it's a beloved book. The Spell Shop I would rewrite. This was definitely too long for what it was. Definitely too long. I thought I was gonna give this 5 stars. I gave it a 3. Oh, one big thing I would rewrite is the ending, okay? I did not think I would read the words umbilical cord in this book. That's all I'm gonna say about that, but I would definitely rewrite that scene, and by rewrite I mean take it out completely. This is a really cute time. I thought it was witchy. It's not really witchy. It's this girl who is a librarian. The library goes up in flames right in the beginning of the book. She and her plant companion, spider plant to be exact, named Kaz, go to this cottage that she inherited because her parents died a long time ago. It's basically found family in this little town because all those people knew her parents and also knew her when she was a kid, and she doesn't remember anybody, but she becomes friends with them. There's a romance in here. I think pitching this as a fantasy romance though is kind of bold because the romance isn't like too prominent, nor was it really necessary, but it's there. Found family aspect is great. Plant companion was my favorite part. And then there's this like twisty, not mystery really. I guess it's kind of a mystery. It's like a cozy fantasy mystery, but I gave it a 3. It was definitely too long. There's like action scenes in the end that I didn't really care for, but there's that. And then Smoke I would reread because that ending, even though it took me weeks to finish this book, that ending really got me and I would reread it. All right, next we have A Blackness Absolute by Caitlin Marceau. Dracula's Guest by Bram Stoker. I read that from my classic horror stories. It's right there, but I'm too lazy to grab the book because it's huge and it's just one story from there, so here's a picture. And then My Summer of You Volume 2, which was another manga I read. I would burn My Summer of You Volume 2. It was just another high school romance, a male one, so I'll give it that. I gave it 3 stars. I read it as like a little break palette cleanser thing for my 24-hour readathon, and I still had it from the library from my 10K in 10 days challenge. Just follows these 2 guys and they're very like indecisive about each other. It's very angsty, so I'd burn that. I'd reread Dracula's Guest. I gave that 4 stars. I think I said that already. I loved it. It was so good, and I wish they left it in Dracula because Dracula's already long, so cutting out a chapter didn't make too much of a difference. That's just me. And then A Blackness Absolute I would rewrite. It's a story collection. I mean, y'all know how that goes. I only really liked the second story. I gave that one 5 stars. It was just called Sarah. I really liked that. All the other ones were kind of forgettable. There was this one story, is it Gordon? Where a cat was involved, so I got excited because I thought it was gonna be all cute but also creepy, but it was just too long. So yeah, there were some stories that I would definitely like change things about, but I love the second one. I gave this 3 stars. Caitlin Marceau is the author of This Is Where We Talk Things Out, which is at my #1 spot for the year right now, so I want to read everything she writes. Then we have The Haunted Bookstore Volume 1, You'll Come Back to Yourself, and then Christmas in Quincy. To be honest, I think I would reread The Haunted Bookstore. This is one of the few manga that I would reread. It was really cute. I think there was a portal in this, and there were just like creatures, and you know, it's bookish, so I'd reread it and I'd continue this series. I think it was originally a novel and it was turned into a manga, so maybe I should read the original. I don't know, but I would reread that. It was cute. I gave that one 3 stars. You'll Come Back to Yourself I would burn. There's a lot of poetry out there. I don't need this one. And then Christmas in Quincy I would reread because I feel like Devney Perry is going to be one of my favorite romance authors because I've read 3 books by her and I've enjoyed all of them. I think I've given all of them 4 stars. Oh, never mind, spoke too soon. I gave Christmas in Quincy 3 stars. It was short, it was cute. Ooh, we got the final scene. Dissolving Classroom by Junji Ito. Oh god, where'd it go? This Wretched Valley by Jenny Kiefer. Obviously would reread this, best of the month. It's going on my top 10 for sure. Burn this, because it was one of the worst books I've ever read. And then I would rewrite this, because that's the only one left. But I gave this 5 stars. I don't know how to rewrite a manga. How do you even, This was a story collection and I really enjoyed every single story. I thought there was something creepy for but I think some of them could have been creepier. Sometimes it got a little bit redundant, so maybe that, but at the same time, it's one of those where it's like all set in the same town. So like, how could you not be redundant? I don't know, but I gave this 5 stars. That's as good as it's gonna get with my rewrite explanation. Sorry, I'm moving on. We have Mary, An Awakening of Terror by Nat Cassidy. I'm a Fan by Sheena Patel. Indigo Ridge by Devney Perry. Oh god, okay, so we have 1 5-star. We have 1 5-star and 2 4-stars. This is hard because I really enjoyed all of them. Okay, so the 5 stars, I would reread this. We'll just start with that so it's easy. Okay, fine. I would rewrite Mary because I wouldn't burn it. But, oh, there was a dog death in this. I would take that out. Yay, that was easy. But this is basically a Carrie retelling, but it's if Carrie is an adult who doesn't have powers and is going through menopause. Honestly, my favorite part of this book is the afterword, so like a note from the author, and it's titled, What's This Asshole Doing Writing a Book About Menopause? He explains it and he does it really well, but definitely obviously read that after you've read the book because it does have spoilers. But this has a lot packed into it. Mary lost her job. She goes to move in with her aunt, who's like this wacky ass character. Definitely the comedic relief of the book. And Mary goes through a lot. There's a lot of like facing the fact that she's getting older. There's all this like familial stuff. It's a good one. I'm glad I finally got to that. Thank you, Full Moon Readathon. And then I guess I would burn Indigo Ridge, even though I loved it. There's a touch her and die moment in a contemporary romance. Whatever, it's fine. It's in a small town. It's a cowboy romance, technically. She's the chief of police in this hometown that she went back to. Her grandpa's the mayor, so there's familial stuff with that, and it's kind of cute, and there's a super cute romance. There's a mystery. I said in my vlog, I read this for the Steph video again, so the Do Your Worst episode. All my thoughts are there, but basically I've come to realize that this is like my favorite genre, this subgenre. Like a thriller romance, horror romance, those are my favorite. But I guess since it's a pretty long series and I own all the books and Devney Perry's wrote a shit ton of books, I guess I'll burn this one, and I'm sad about it, but my only option left for that round. Oh wait, I read 30 books, so we have exactly 10 rounds. How beautiful. The last 3 we have are The Hollow Places by T. Kingfisher. Yes, I read 2 T. Kingfisher books this month. I love her. She's become one of my favorite authors of all time. Little Eyes by Samantha Schweblin and Blue Sisters by Coco Melors. I still don't know how to. Do you say Melors or Mellors? Please let me know. I guess I could look it up, but I won't. Okay, I would burn. I put them down and I don't remember. Oh, Little Eyes. I would burn Little Eyes. That took me way too long. It was not what I expected. It was more sci-fi than I expected, and it was just all about these Furby looking things, and I don't even want to talk about it. I had it in like 3 or 4 vlogs of me reading this 200 something page book. It was ridiculous, but I gave that 2 stars, and I listened to the audiobook and I hated the audiobook, so I don't recommend it that way if you do have interest in it still. I would reread The Hollow Places. I love T. Kingfisher, like I said. I gave this 4 stars. This was another Do Your Worst episode book, so I'll have all my thoughts in there, but I love her humor, I love her characters, and this was like a portal horror, like portal cosmic horror, which I don't usually read, so that was new, that was fun, and this is very like Black Mirror-esque in my opinion. There's taxidermy in here as well. I would rewrite Blue Sisters. God, I don't even want to talk about that. This is another one that's been in several vlogs, so I'm kind of sick of talking about it. I think the biggest thing I would change is the inaccurate representation of endometriosis. I don't have endo, but my friend Megan does, and she was livid about it being misrepresented, so I would just take that out because obviously I take her word for it, and that's just stupid because I'm like, if I read this and there was rheumatoid arthritis misrepresented, like saying like, oh, you can cure RA by like getting your appendix removed or something, and it's like, you can't, and I would be pissed too. So I changed that. But this is about 3 sisters who are grieving over their 4th sister dying a couple years ago. You follow them while they drift apart and live their own lives, but then also come together, and then you follow them arguing about stuff and having all this family drama. I liked Cleopatra and Frankenstein more, but this did make me cry, so I ended up giving it 4 stars, but it does have its issues for sure. Also, Bonnie the boxer. Y'all know me and like characters that have a passion and that's their entire personality. Those are my thoughts on that. That is everything. I'm tired. Let me know if you've read any of these books. Let me know if you agree, disagree. We'll chat in the comments. Thank you so much for watching. If you made it to the end of this video, let's put an evergreen emoji, like the evergreen tree. I don't know if these are evergreens, but they're trees, and I love, oh yeah, there are some evergreens on the back here. Put an evergreen tree in the comments. I love the look of them. They're just such a cozy vibe. If you made it to the end, thank you so much. Hope you had a 5-star day. Don't forget to do some self-care, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.